So, hello. I have not filmed one of these in forever, but I figured eclipse season is coming up, and everyone's just being very, I don't want to say fearmongery about the astrology for March, but I just want to add a little bit more nuance because I don't think it's completely going to be doom and gloom. Per usual, a lot of this stuff is very individual and has a lot to do with personal transits in terms of whether or not you should personally be worried. And also, it's fun for me at least to add tarot into the mix a little bit. So, if you're new here, I am trying to do this new thing where I bunch up my readings by element instead of just like trying to bang out 12 individual 30-40 minute videos. It was a lot and I got burnt out very easily, and that's probably why I haven't filmed in so long. So this new way that I'm trying, I think I test drove it a little bit a few years ago. I'm gonna go by element, and I'm going to try to like get the overall scope of it for all signs, and then try to do like little individual segments. So for example, this is a water sign video. The first chunk of it is probably going to be an overall energy for all water signs. Therefore, I would probably contain it, like if you're a water sign and you're watching this, I would contain it to your big three. So that's if you're, let's say, a Pisces sun, moon, or rising. For me, when I watch these horoscopes, I tend to stick to my rising. Sometimes I'll look at my sun, but my rising, especially since I am over 30, has been hitting a little bit more over the years. And I've also had my Saturn return already, and I'm Saturn ruled. So just look at it that way. Let's say you're Neptune ruled, but you have an Aries sun. I would probably watch this video because I'm just looking at overall water sign energy. So for starters, I want to just get into the themes that I see. Eclipses are very tricky. I personally am not a fan of them as so much as you could be a fan of like natural occurrences. But I do think they can be worked with or like gotten through. I think what comes out of the other side of eclipse energy is really, really important. And I'm trying to look at it through that way. We also have the spring equinox coming up this month, which thank God. And funny enough, a lot of the spread for the water signs that I pulled, I'm getting a lot of Aries, a lot of fire sign. I'm literally getting, or I have a Venus and Aries card, which I'll get into later. So for water signs, you have a lot of fire sign energy coming up in March, which is very interesting. I would say out of the cards that I pulled, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of the 2, 4. 4 out of the 6 cards here are all fire sign or Aries based, which is really interesting. So take of that what you will, especially in terms of like motivation, being active, and just like getting things done. That feels very important for water signs coming up this month. And with that, I just like to start the video, at least for the first few minutes, face to face, so you know the face to the voice. And from here on out, I'm just going to show the cards because I feel like that's a lot more productive. So excuse my setup. I'm still trying to figure out which way works best for me. But right now, I think this is like what I'm going to stick with, at least for this video. As mentioned, this is just the overall energy. So if you're a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, you know, big three, but do what you want. This is what I see overall for the month ahead. If you stay tuned, I will do a little breakdown for each individual sign. But for starters, like I mentioned, themes of power, themes of autonomy, especially since I have two very, I hate like gender specifying with tarot, but like the Emperor alone is like very, very masculine. It doesn't have to be biologically masculine, but just the idea of getting things done, being in charge, etc. Wherever the Emperor shows up in a spread is kind of where somebody, again, not gender specific, but somebody is taking the reins over, or they might be in charge more than they should be. The Emperor always feels very external to me. Like, I rarely pull it, and it's for a client directly. It's always like external energy toward the client for me. Especially with these two, the Emperor and the Seven of Cups, I just want you all to question the places in your life where you feel not necessarily bullied, but I would say underestimated, at best maybe belittled or coddled. Because, like I said, I feel like this is being directed toward you. I feel like there is energy in your life where people think that you need guidance, and you probably don't. You just need more direction than you need guidance. And that's just being positive. It could also even be a scenario where someone is slightly taking advantage of your directionless energy and just taking over where they shouldn't be. So I would just do like a little check. I'm not gonna assume that all water signs are passive. I think it's not a fair stereotype that water signs are like docile and emotional, but there could be someone in your space that feels that way about you, and I worry that you might be a bit too distracted, or you might not take advantage, but you might lean into other people's perception of you, which as a Libra, I can relate, unfortunately. Excuse me, I'm just gonna take some water. But that's just in the middle of the spread. I tend to start in the middle of my spread because that's where usually the most energy is for me, especially if it's a major arcana card. So the Emperor kind of took over once I pulled the spread. So that most likely is your most pressing issue this month, is just not letting internal distraction, lead you into a way where you're led astray. If that makes sense. Like, if you have things you have to focus on, if you're building your dream life, if you don't know what you want, just make sure nobody is getting in your ear and telling you what you want and telling you what you should do, and just like, hey, well, until you figure it out, I'm here, let me just handle everything. Starting the spread though, I have the Ace of Wands and the King of Pentacles. These two coming up as one, I feel like this can kind of start as something work related. With the Ace of Wands, this could even be not necessarily physically your living situation, but just how you live, like your lifestyle. And I feel like once you clean house, especially like these two cards, this energy mentioned here, you might even realize how passive behavior is affecting your physical health. With this card, it's more so with energy and stamina versus like, being sick, being healthy, quote unquote, because that's relative. Something is draining you here. The Seven of Cups, sevens in general, because I have the Seven of Wands, which I'll get into at the bottom of the deck. Sevens in general for me in tarot is just the feeling of something is nagging at you. It's like this undercurrent. Even if everything is going well, like there's just something nagging at you. And it's not even necessarily that you want more, or because some people say that sevens can reflect selfishness, can reflect jealousy. I wouldn't go that deep. I would say it's just more longing, yearning for the unknown, especially with this card here. So something to consider, because you can't really waste your whole life daydreaming, and the Ace of Wands is just that idea that at some point you're going to have to actually do something, especially with the King of Pentacles too. Yeah, I get like a lot of daydreamers, but also manifesting energy, because sevens are also like it's a very occult number. I'll just leave it there. And then 8, which of course is following 7, is a master number, which is like getting out there and like really becoming a master at something, really doing something and honing a skill. So you're coming out of the 7 phase. You've been in the 7 phase for too long, and you have to like take the next step into the 8. Again, another stereotype regarding water signs is the whole dreamy, Very, I don't want to say airheaded, but like in the clouds type of energy. And this is definitely the epitome of that. The King of Pentacles is very action based. So this goes beyond planning. Like, you're done dreaming, you're done planning. Whatever it is that you keep in the background of your mind, it's time to really start taking tangible steps toward it. I try to diversify. I'll just say that is what immediately came out to me overall for all of this, the rest of the month, even going into March, and all of March, of course. I do want to like branch out because I do know people are concerned about money, but mostly relationships. I get like obviously a lot of relationship questions. So if I were to look at the spread from a relationship standpoint, and I say this respectfully because I know like social media, we talk a lot about decentering relationships and decentering one gender, etc. I don't even want to get into it. I will say this is coming up as a more healthy way of doing that. Because wherever this card is, it's something that is like on your mind. I call this my, what's the word? Maladaptive daydreaming card, which is another like hot topic right now. I feel like some of you may be in a hyper dream state. This can be dreaming about a romantic partner. This could be dreaming about a certain life that you want, especially with this Ace of Wands. It's really, really taking over, and you're substituting that for the real thing, which is something that can have you like waking up 5-10 years later, like where did time go? Like, everyone has moved on. I'm still here daydreaming, like I have to get it together. So I would say the eclipse is probably pushing you to do that sooner rather than later. In terms of relationship though, I think in a more practical sense, like all of this combo can be just coming into a period where you need to see more, you need to feel more. The King of Pentacles doesn't have like the best real reputation for being exciting. This is somebody that's reliable, and that doesn't mean they don't have the potential to be exciting or they have their own way of being exciting. It just may not match your dream version or your fantasy driven version. And again, this is a time to not be passive. So, there's always a way to compromise. There's always a way to speak up. If you feel like something is lacking, I do feel like the spread is to kind of like that push to say something to your partner, specifically if you want more passion, if you want to be more social, if you want to go out, if you want to do things, see people, etc. I also, and this is strange, I also feel like this is more in line with, again, decentering. This could even be your partner not necessarily wanting space, but like you might be a little bit too, I don't want to say passive, but you could be a little bit too comfortable. So it could be time where, hey, your relationship's great, let's be more well-rounded, let's look outside of that, do things outside of that, etc. Because this can be your subconscious telling you need stimulation outside of a romantic connection. For my singles too, I would read this as, again, how much fantasy could potentially be taking over your life. I can't stress that enough, because with all these sevens here, it's just chasing after the unknown to the point where like you're falling down all these rabbit holes, etc. The Four of Wands though is ending the spread, so maybe you are also using something as an escape. The Seven of Cups, how can I say this? It's not necessarily substances, but if we're going to be technical about it, it could reference mind-altering substances or doing something that doesn't have you in your right mind, etc. So like just thrill-seeking, or like doing things that just suspend your logical thinking for an extended period of time. I feel like I'm talking to a group of people that like can relate to that a bit. The Four of Wands, I also am getting with this that you potentially could be getting carried away by something, or like the potential. This is my Venus and Aries card. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure this is Venus and Aries, this placement. Given that I have a court card here too, and I have the Emperor, you could have, my single people, you could potentially have met or been in proximity to somebody that seems really good, that seems like your ideal, that seems like what you manifested, but it's really just the honeymoon phase, etc. Venus in Aries is very, very spark driven, passion driven, very fast moving. And given that Aries season is right around the corner, you know, spring coming and people just like shedding their clothes, being happy that it's warmer, happy that we survived like a really tough winter, I don't want you to conflate that with whatever potential you feel with this person or with this connection, etc. So with that, that's already 16 minutes. So I feel good about where we're leaving that overall. Let me just get back on focus here. One thing I will say I hate about this camera is like how easily it gets out of focus. There we go. So as promised, I'm gonna try to keep this under 30 minutes. Keep in mind, this is my first video in like almost 5 years. I have not filmed a video like this in 5 years. So bear with me, especially since I feel like I sound out of breath. But to be fair, I just got over walking pneumonia, so if I talk too long, if I move too long, like I get winded these days pretty quickly. Still gonna try to power through. Alright. Pisces. What's going on for you in March? Interesting. We have the Five of Wands. I swear. Alright, I won't speak, but already a lot of fire sign energy for the water signs, which is really interesting. But a Five of Wands, a Four of Wands again. So maybe I was like specifically talking to y'all. The love reading. The King of Wands and the Queen of Swords. So this is definitely, especially if I get more than 2 court cards, this is definitely referencing. This is not to me an energy or like some abstract thing. These are definitely 2 people. The King of Wands too, I won't say that I don't like the King of Wands. I would say it's a very tricky energy. Like, I have very staunch feelings about all the other King cards, but the King of Wands is just like in the middle for me. It could go either way. But given that it's come up with the Queen of Swords, I feel like this is just somebody that no matter how much you like them, not even just how much you like them, how likable they are, because the King of Wands is very, very likable, you're always going to need to have boundaries. The Queen of Swords is a queen of boundaries. So that's just an aside, especially given that the Five of Wands was like the first card I pulled for you Pisces. The Five of Wands, and I had a client the other day that had this come up not too far after having the Emperor card. And that's exactly what's happening for you right now. The Five of Wands is just fighting just to be right. It's not really having... I think with the Five of Wands, there's a goal. People have good intentions. People have an idea, and they're all like very attached to it, because with this card, it's always multiple people, at least 2. It's just the methods. So at some point, you're arguing for so long that you forget the goal, and then it just becomes how we do something, or who gets to do something, or who has a say in anything, and you just forget the main purpose, or you forget the goal or purpose that you had in mind. So I don't know if this King of Wands was somebody that talked over you or just had you in your head too much to where at some point you just like lost track of whatever it is that was so important, and now you're just arguing about petty things. I'm feeling like the boundaries here need to be like super tight, because this could also be a gaslighting card. So I would just be wary of that. It's the Four of Wands too. It just sucks. And I also will add the Lover's card is at the bottom of my deck. I'm just getting a lot of good, and then there's one really tough thing that can overshadow all of that. So whoever this person is to you, I feel like you want to prioritize the Lover's energy, the Four of Wands energy, the likability, the charm of the King of Wands, and just like override this like ego-driven pettiness that comes with that. This is not to say that you can't get over it and it can't be worked through, but I would definitely take it into consideration. Like I mentioned at the end of the overall spread, this could be a honeymoon phase card, so you have to be honest with yourself at some point if you are out of a honeymoon phase with someone or something. This even applies to single people too. Like at some point you're holding on or attaching yourself to something that's really tempting, that feels good. The Lover's card can sometimes be two opposites that both are very, very tempting, but you know at some point you need to pick one. So, you know, take care of yourself, take care of your needs, or to lose yourself into whatever this King of Wands, Five of Wands energy is, it feels like. Money-wise, health-wise, etc., from the spread, I'm also getting that money is going to be really good, especially with the overall spread. I feel that with the multiple sevens. I also do feel like with the Five of Wands, when it comes to work, because I pull this card for a lot of clients that are looking for jobs or that are trying to figure out how to stand out. This is a card sometimes of playing dirty or just like being very, very honest about your competition and where you fall in line with that. So that can also be a conversation you need to have. For example, let's just pretend the King of Wands is like the job you really want, or the boss of that job you really want. They're looking at all these people, you know, everyone has the same purpose. It's just how are you going to get there, because you obviously are all not necessarily fighting, but like, you know, it's counterintuitive, or it's counter to whatever the other person's going on. And I will just leave that there for Pisces. By the way, I still have my Patreon page up, so I do my extended readings there. I just did not realize I'd be getting so winded. Maybe filming this wasn't a great idea so soon after being sick. Okay. Alright, so that was Pisces. I think I'm gonna do Cancer. No. Sorry. I just like to do Florida water in between. Just clear the... Let's do Cancer now. Wands again. So I have 3 cards here, because I read, whenever 2 cards come up, I read them as one. So I have 3 to 4 cards here. 2 of them are Wands cards. So you are sign, water sign number 2 that has a lot of fire sign energy. I don't know why, but family. And it's not surprising, because Cancer is like the sign of the home, sign of comfort. And it's also ruled by the moon, which can be familial, mother-like. Forgive me. And the Ace of Wands too. Fun fact for me, when I've pulled this, I usually have some type of trickiness with family or communication, etc. And I always feel like when I pulled this card, it's time to just like not necessarily cut people off, but just lock everything down for a minute, focus on me, reorient, and then I can deal with family. That's just that. But you have the Ace of Swords coming up with the Eight of Wands. Sorry, the glare. The Eight of Wands for me, it's, as I mentioned, the 8 is a master number. So you want, when you pull any type of 8, usually, it's about honing something, taking control of something, and becoming very good at it. Like, think the 8 of Pentacles, even the 8 of Cups, like walking away, taking control back in regards to your life, or taking control in a situation. 8 of Swords, I would say that one's a little tricky. But 8 of Wands is going after something. Again, with the whole job thing too, usually this is communication, but like instant communication. For example, you mail a letter, it takes 2 to 3 days, sometimes even a week, but you send an email within minutes. So this is like an email versus a letter. If you can get something done right away, do it. Don't take the long route, just go straight ahead. Ironically, the Ace of Swords is all about communication. It's all about saying what's on your mind, but in a very formal way. When I get this card, it's like a grown-up Page of Swords. If you know anything about the Page of Swords, it's about researching, almost like a very lawyer-like, student-like most pages are. This Ace of Swords is like, alright, you have all your information, you have everything you need. You really don't need to like search further, state your case, pretty much. So I don't know if somebody is just like dealing with family or some type of legal thing, because swords usually can be legal. It can also reference a battle of wills, battle of words. Say your piece right now. You have the upper hand in some way, but if you lose it and you stay quiet, you probably won't have the floor to speak again in the same way. Or you won't have everyone's attention the way that you possibly can have it now. Which, by the way, I have the Five of Swords at the bottom of my deck. So what I feel like, that's weird. I feel like the Pisces have the Five of Wands, which is very like ego-driven, competitive-wise. But the Five of Swords is a bit meaner. Like, people are coming after you. You're not like in the middle of a competition. Like the Five of Swords that Pisces got, the Five of Wands that Pisces got, people are kind of bringing that battle toward you. And usually the Five of Swords, people that you know. So I would just keep an eye on that, especially since too, you have the Ten of Pentacles here, which is really interesting. It's rare that I ever get negative energy from this card, the Ten of Pentacles. I think it's a really warm card, if that makes sense. Like, I always get warmth when I feel this card. The same way that everyone gets cold when they pull the Five of Pentacles, which is ironically half of this card. So, I don't know if the idea of home or the idea of family is exactly giving you this warm and fuzzy feeling right now. Maybe there's a way to get back to that. Or maybe it is, and they're a sense of refuge for you in whatever chaos and meanness is going on. It's really interesting. I think you have a lot more people in your corner than you do against you. And it could be a situation where, right, maybe you should be telling your family something. Like, you know, your time is not necessarily running out, but your back is against the wall a little bit. So maybe it is that you do need some space, you do need some reinforcement, and you need it from people that love you. That's very interesting that it would come up for Cancer, because, again, that's the epitome of your sign. Yeah. That like threw me off for a second. I like correlations like that, astrology and tarot. Lastly, the Three of Wands. This is a very bureaucratic card. This is about taking the high ground to me whenever this card comes up. At least I've had personal experiences where it could reference taking the high ground. It's not a coincidence that this card is at the end of the spread. I feel like you have tried taking the high ground. I feel like silence has been your high ground. So the time for silence again is over. You can speak your piece, then go back to your comfort space, go back to your safety net to take the high ground. But right now you do have to get a little bit more forceful, you do have to get a little bit more vocal, and you do have to move very, very fast. Yeah, that feels in terms of just like, again, legality, money that may be owed to you. If this is about like a house, like if something is like getting turned around or screwed over with like property that you have, that's what it feels centered on too. But I do feel like you're coming out on top because an ace of swords is usually in your favor. But if you look at it literally, it's like someone is handing you a sword. Victory is kind of, it's almost like confirmed for you, but there's no victory if you don't fight. That's how I look at this card, essentially. So I'll leave that there. Fortunately, we are over 30 minutes, but I'm gonna try, I saved Scorpio for last. Should be interesting. I'm seeing if this fire sign theme, this fire sign Wands theme is gonna continue. I probably shouldn't have said anything. Just let it play out. I feel like the health, forgive me. I feel like the health thing that I mentioned in the beginning, where you probably do need to be honest about the correlation between your passivity and your daydreaming and just letting life pass you by. You need to look at the correlation between that and your physical lack of energy. It could even be manifesting as like, you know, I don't want to put it out there, but not feeling at your physical peak. Because I don't like the Six of Swords, and I especially don't like the Two of Swords near the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is just, it's recovery. It's almost like going away somewhere to just like recoup. The Four of Swords is like physical rest. It's just stopping everything and like going to sleep and taking a nap. The Six of Swords is like a complete overhaul. For example, I had a client that she had mold in her house and she just couldn't figure out like why she was sick. And I'm like, oh, I think, and I kept getting the Six of Swords for her. So I'm like, yeah, you should probably look. It's like something in your house. So it just looks like something like physically there. And we even talked about like going on vacation or like just getting out of your immediate surroundings because that just kept coming up. So not to be specific, it's just getting out of your immediate surroundings for a bit, even like mentally. Because the Queen of Wands, I don't know, I feel like I could be talking to you, Scorpio. I feel like this could be you, especially since she's like the very mysterious witchy type queen. With the Two of Swords too, I do feel like there's no reconciliation here. I feel like somebody feels like they're owed your time or they're owed your energy in some way. And you took a big step in getting away from the situation to the point where you even did like very tangible, a very hard boundary, be it blocking, be it moving, be it just whatever. There was no ambiguity. Like you set a firm wall up. This person still is like they see you as something to be attained because the Queen of Wands carries that energy. The Two of Swords is you like kind of wondering if you did too much or wondering if like, hey, maybe I didn't give this person a fair shot. This could even be friends. Actually the Two of Swords is a Libra moon. So any sort of relationship. Mind you, Libra is 7th house, and I mentioned water signs. You have a lot of 7 energy coming up next month. 7th house is your house of hidden enemies. I'm pretty sure it's hidden. Hidden or revealed? Oh, I should know this. Let me look this up real quick. I think it's hidden enemies. I should know this. I'm a Libra. I don't edit my videos, by the way. So you guys are gonna watch. Yeah, it's hidden enemies. I knew it. No, it's open enemies. Yeah. So, and I feel like that's even better. 12th house is a house of hidden enemies, which is Pisces. Pisces is a Pisces house. But yeah, with this 2 of Swords, I feel like for some reason you know that this person is in opposition to you. I don't like calling people enemies, but like, you don't have a good history here. And they're trying to get in your head a little bit and trying to like make you reevaluate everything. Even with the moon card, wherever the moon shows up, there's like distortion, confusion, not necessarily fantasy, but like, did that happen type of energy. So Scorpio, I really want you to be firm on events that transpired, because any type of ambiguity left is just gonna be used to distort in favor of whoever wants to get back in your life, essentially. And then the 3 of Pentacles started the spread. So you do have one wand card. It was at the bottom of my deck. It's the Page of Wands. This also is like my travel card too. So like I said, the 6 of Swords can be like getting out of a really bad situation, like physically, like leaving a bad situation. And I feel like the Page of Wands could just reiterate that on a more positive note. Like, yeah, now you're in a really good space. Like, the world is your oyster with the Page of Wands. There's like a lot of innocence here. The only thing I do want you to be careful of with this 3 of Pentacles, a lot of people respect you, and a lot of people, I will amend that, I feel like a lot of people respect what you can do. They may not respect you. Hence the 6 of Swords, 2 of Swords, Libra Moonish type energy. Hidden, open enemies, etc. So, there's a lot of ganging up on you guys this next month, March. Not necessarily ganging up, but just like being very, very, mob type of energy. Like, things can escalate because, you know, you have an issue with one person and it's something like very easy to fix, but then other people just come in and they add their 2 cents, or they throw in their own problems sneakily. So I do want water signs to really be careful in group settings and to just really like have a firm idea of who they are and events that have happened in their life, because again, this Libra Moon 2 of Swords energy, it's like a mental playground. Like, it's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of just focus. I will say that focus is a key word for y'all. So with that, I feel like I did pretty good. 3 signs in 40 minutes. Whereas before this would have been a 1 sign video. So yeah, leave feedback. I have my email, my social media in the comment box if you want to book a reading. I also do events around the city, so feel free to drop by if you're ever in New York or New Orleans. And with that, I will see you in my next video. Happy eclipse!